CSI premiered in 2000 and quickly became a hit television staple, spawning numerous spin-offs for various cities. But with all that success, why have so many stars left the CSI franchise? We'll tell you exactly why they decided to hang up their badges. For 9 seasons, Gil Grissom led the CSI team in investigating some of Las Vegas's most gruesome crimes. The socially awkward, witty cop was a fan favorite and has repeatedly been voted one of TV's top sleuths. So it came as a shock to many when William Petersen announced he was leaving CSI in 2009. The actor told Entertainment Weekly, "The reason I'm leaving is because I'm afraid I'm becoming too comfortable. It's CSI. They pay me a lot of money and I don't have to work very hard anymore. I've got it all figured out, and I just realized, God, as an artist, I'm going to atrophy." Petersen expressed that he wasn't interested in keeping the job for money or convenience, saying, "It was too safe for me at this point, so I needed to try and break that, and the way to do that for me is the theater." Unlike many of his castmates, Petersen didn't seem especially sad to leave his character behind, telling Entertainment Weekly, "I won't miss Grissom, and I hope that the audience won't miss him either." The audience, however, did seem to miss the unflappable leader, with 23 million viewers tuning in for William Petersen's final episode. Some CSI stars' exits have been bitter, but Marg Helgenberger's departure was not among them. After her character Catherine Willows was promoted to night shift supervisor, Helgenberger spent 3 years leading the cast, leaving in the middle of season 12. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Helgenberger said of leaving the series, "I instinctively felt it was time to end that chapter of my career. I'm 53 now, and I feel like I'm still young enough to switch it up." Although she decided to ultimately trust her gut and say goodbye to her character and the work, leaving wasn't easy.
I'm, very aware of how special it's been, so that's the way I'm feeling.
The actor noted that she enjoyed her time with the cast and with the show. Her son, Hugh, with whom she shares a close relationship, was working in the CSI production offices at the time, and we can't imagine that losing that working relationship was easy on the pair. Lauren Lee Smith spent only a single season on CSI before getting the boot. The decision came from upstairs, with producer Narain Shankar explaining to TV Guide, "It was an issue of how we were feeling the ensemble was working. When we brought in the character of Riley, it got lost in the shuffle a little bit because we had lost Warwick, we'd lost Sarah, and then in the middle of last season, Grissom finally left. I think as a result, the character never quite found its footing in terms of the rest of the gang." Smith seemed to enjoy her time on the series regardless of the duration. She praised her good fortune in an interview with CBS that she was able to join the show and credited the cast and crew for making her feel welcome. Another actor with a short-lived stint on CSI is Laurence Fishburne, who departed after only 2.5 seasons. The network didn't seem all that surprised when Fishburne opted out of renewing his contract in 2011. An insider explained to Deadline, "Nobody expected him to be on the show for 7 years. It's Laurence Fishburne." Even though his time as Raymond Langston was brief, there are no hard feelings between the actor and the franchise. Since his departure, the actor has mostly returned to film work, though he has done significant stints on series like Blackish and Hannibal. Unfortunately for Fishburne fans the world over, he has not appeared in either the CSI or the Matrix revivals. Jorja Fox left CSI twice, once of her own volition and once against her will. In 2004, the actor took what amounted to a brief sabbatical after contract negotiations went awry. According to Variety, a misunderstanding about her willingness to sign a letter saying that she wouldn't skip work as a salary negotiation tactic led to CBS firing Fox, only to rehire her soon after the incident. Things went smoothly from there until 2007, when Fox decided she'd be leaving the series for good. She elaborated on her choice to Entertainment Weekly, saying, "It's one of the hardest decisions I've made in my life. It has nothing to do with my contract, nothing to do with money. There are so many things I want to do. Some are personal, some are professional, and I really need to do some of them before I get too old." Fox was able to reprise her role, however, for the 2021 CSI Vegas revival series. Kim Delaney was the first actor fired from CSI Miami. After just 10 episodes, CBS announced that Delaney, who played Megan Donner, was being written out of the show. The reason behind the drastic move? Per Entertainment Weekly, there was an apparent lack of chemistry between Delaney and the cast.
See if you can find me a copy of the flight plan.
It's nice to see you too.
An alumnus of another crime procedural, NYPD Blue, Delaney was a late addition to the Miami cast. Fans were originally ecstatic about her casting, hoping that the leading duo of Delaney and David Caruso would click in the same way Marg Helgenberger and William Petersen had on the original CSI. In the end, however, it didn't pan out that way. CBS issued a statement that said, "The network, the production companies, and the producers jointly arrived at this decision upon recognizing that the character of Megan Donner was becoming less integral to the series as the season progressed." For years, Khandi Alexander played the sweet-talking, empathetic medical examiner on CSI Miami. Then, in 2010, she shocked fans by hanging up the scalpel and riding off into the sunset. The decision seems to have been entirely her own so that she could reportedly pursue new and more creatively challenging roles. Alexander jumped right into her next project, HBO's Treme, and from there she spent 5 years playing Maya Pope on Scandal. In an interview with The World, Alexander recounted how she had not seen any, quote, consistent through line of employment for Black actresses, which led her to doubt for years whether she could make a real career out of the small screen. This fact underscores just how important her role and the representation it provided was. A star who had a more brief tenure on CSI Miami is Eddie Cibrian, who was fired after just one season. A few months after joining the cast in 2009, CBS announced that they wouldn't be renewing his contract. Though the studio declined to comment on the decision, Deadline claimed that the return of original cast member Adam Rodriguez was the primary driver in deciding to drop Cibrian as a regular. Fans had been split on Cibrian's character, Jesse Cardoza, who is perhaps best described as morally gray. However, Cibrian held firmly to the belief that he was ultimately a hero, telling TV Guide, "Jesse was always a good cop and still is a good cop." One of the franchise's more private stars, Louise Lombard, hasn't ever been particularly forthcoming about her reasons for leaving the CSI franchise in Season 8. A 2011 interview with fan site CSI Files after Lombard's surprise guest appearance in a Season 11 episode might help shine a little light on her decision. She said, "I joined the show when I was pregnant with my first child and had a nursery set up in my trailer after he was born, so my time on CSI playing Sophia Curtis holds a special place in my heart." Whatever her reasons, it doesn't seem that she's entirely ruled out appearing in the franchise at any point in the future. In the same interview, she emphasized how much she loved the series, producers, and her castmates. In reference to her 2011 guest appearance, Lombard said she loved executive producer Carol Mendelsohn as well as the series. Liz Vassey found herself let go from CSI in 2010 after CBS opted not to renew her contract. Per Entertainment Weekly's source at the time, the decision was made in favor of, quote, a different creative direction. It came as a total surprise to both the actor and her fans, especially because her character, Wendy Sims, had seemingly been on the verge of a relationship with fellow investigator David Hodges. The news of Vassey's departure caused a bit of a hullabaloo after it was leaked via a Facebook post from her private account, but in an interview with CSI Files, the actor has seemed open to returning to the series, so perhaps a CSI Vegas appearance isn't out of the question. Gary Dourdan's CSI character, Warwick Brown, was complicated, a devoted cop who struggled with a gambling addiction and had difficulty maintaining intimate relationships.
$20. By an end of shift, I'm the man.
Is there anything you won't bet on?
Nah, it's college football season, man. I won 8-10 this week.
It was this multifaceted nature that drew Dourdan to the character in the first place. He told Red Carpet News, "When I got the show, it was a great challenge. To be an actor and to be in a drama, you want to be able to play a character that has dimensions, and I was able to do that with that show." It seemed that the thrill of the challenge wore off, and Dourdan announced he was leaving CSI at the beginning of Season 9. Entertainment Weekly reported that his exit was a mutual decision between CBS Paramount and the actor. The reasoning behind Dourdan's on-screen death is unclear. The actor was arrested in 2008 on drug possession charges, but his exit from CSI was reportedly announced before his arrest. One of the very few CSI actors to last all 15 seasons of the show's original run, George Eads, never technically left the series. However, he did take 2 notable leaves of absence for 2 very different reasons. The first came at the start of Season 5 when he was fired after missing the first day of filming. Eads claimed he had merely overslept, while CBS viewed the incident as a dispute over his salary. Eventually, Eads was rehired at his original salary. Then, at the start of Season 13, Eads once again missed several episodes after getting in a heated argument with a pregnant writer. Despite the drama, the actor continued to portray Nick Stokes to the very end, but his endurance might have been more a twist of fate than actual dedication. In late 2014, Eads announced that CSI's 15th season would be his last, but eventually CBS reported that they'd be ending the series altogether. By season 14 of CSI, Paul Guilfoyle, aka Captain Jim Brass, was one of the last original cast members remaining on the series. Over his years on the show, Guilfoyle had starred in more than 300 episodes, an impressive feat for any actor. It came as a shock to Guilfoyle and fans alike when CBS executives announced he'd be making his departure at the end of that season. Per The Hollywood Reporter, the decision was the producer's call, and while no specific reasons were given, we can only assume it was because they felt the character had reached the end of his arc. After many other projects in his career, Guilfoyle returned to the role of Jim Brass in 2021 for CSI Vegas. After 6 years of fighting crime on CSI New York, Melina Kanakaredes decided to turn in her badge and pursue other opportunities. We know the decision was hers, thanks to a statement from CBS that said in part, "We hoped Melina would return to CSI NY for another season, but respect her decision to move on." The why behind the exit is murky. Kanakaredes' own statement doesn't offer many clues. Per Deadline, the actor simply said, "I made some amazing and lifelong friendships during my 6 seasons on CSI NY, and I will treasure them forever." However, Forbes reported that the actor's move likely had something to do with money. Apparently, Kanakaredes was only making $200,000 an episode, which was significantly less than her co-star Gary Sinise, who was making at least $250,000 an episode. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite hit police procedurals are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.